Hey everybody, welcome back. It's been a while, been away, been very busy, but couldn't be more excited to get a little bit of recording done. So exciting that I actually have been waiting for the last 2 hours because my computer hasn't updated in quite that long. Um, so it's after midnight now. We'll make it quick tonight, but we are through 2 days of the draft going into day three, and we really have an idea of who our impact players are going to be. Now, obviously, we can still get some impact players in the later rounds of the draft. See the last year, so hopefully that strikes gold for us again. Hopefully Ortiz continues to cook, and we see what we can do coming into these later rounds. But really overall pleased with the direction that the Chargers have gone. We knew that they needed to address defensive tackle, got one. Whether he's the pick you want or not, we got one. And we spent the first two picks on offense, which is huge for all Chargers fans. We had three positions that we really needed to address in this draft: wide receiver, tight end, and running back. Now tight end got a little hairy, but we got running back, the second running back off the board. Obviously, we didn't get GT, got the next best one according to the board. And we got TRE Harris, which, let's fucking go. Are you kidding me? Can't believe he fell to 55. I have been a huge TRE Harris guy for a very long time. I think he was the first player that really caught my eye in this draft cycle. Really didn't think he was going to fall to us once we got to a certain point, but he did, and the rest will be history. But so I want to talk real quick about three players that we have picked, and then talk about who we have going into day three, and then just some other little tidbits from the draft. So let's kick it off with our round one, 22 overall pick, Omarion Hampton. Obviously, we almost traded out of the pick. That got a little crazy there, but we got him in at the last second. He wasn't necessarily my guy. I'm well on record saying that Omarion Hampton's not my guy. And I think it more so came down to the fact that I didn't see him as highly as others. I was really big fans of Trevion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins, and even some of the later round guys in there as well. But a lot of really smart people that I trust, their football opinions, really liked Omarion Hampton. So I'm going to roll with them and say that this is a really good pick. He reminds me a lot of James Conner. I've seen a lot of people saying more athletic Doug Martin, which would be great. I don't see a whole lot of elusiveness in his game, but we're the Chargers under Jim Harbaugh. We're going to smash this football down your throat. And I'm excited about that. Really excited about that. All I wanted was Justin Herbert to get a running game, and we failed to do that last year, even though JK was very excellent. Overall, our running scheme did not work. We could not protect leads in a lot of games where we really should have been able to. So I think that the combination of Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton is by all means an upgrade overall. We knew going into last year that we were going to be a little bit of a bargain bin team based off of the cap situation. Now, we didn't go out and blow everybody out of the water with some huge signings, but we built a really well-rounded roster. I think we've improved on both sides of the ball, and can't really hope that Omarion Hampton is as good as or better than everybody's told me he is. But even I never saw him as a bad back by any means. And one thing I do want to say is the guys that I did like, that I felt like we could really hang our hat on as coming in and being a starting running back, were all gone by pick 55 as well. And so we wouldn't have really had a chance to get any of the other guys I liked. So I'm perfectly happy that we were able to go get the guy that the team and the organization wanted. Don't get me wrong, there's still some guys on the board that I really like, but not come in and be a massive difference maker type of players. And then second round, I already touched on this, but TRE Harris, probably the first my guy that we had in the draft back when we could get him in the third round in the first days of mock drafts back in December and January. And I was thrilled. I was so thrilled with the idea of getting him. And then in the second round, it started looking a little less likely. Everybody told me I was crazy talking about going first two or three picks all offense, but we know what this team needed. But just with his profile as a legitimate number one receiver, an ex-receiver, I think he could play the Z role too, but a legitimate outside boundary receiver, it was hard to imagine him actually falling all the way to 55. There's a lot of shiftier guys in this class and things like that, and I know a lot of people are Jack Besh fans, and there was quite a few names getting thrown around. I can't believe once we started seeing the run in the back half of the first and the second round that Trey Harris actually fell to 55. He's a prototypical X receiver. He's A.J. Brown light in physicality. Maybe it's just Ole Miss messing me up and I just can't help but visualize it. He's great at the contested catch point. Excellent hands. Enough size to cause people fits. Now, he's not going to be the biggest guy on the field. He's not going to be DK Metcalf out there. But I think he does a hell of a job, and I think he's a little bit more well-rounded of a receiver than people think. He's not a barn burner. He's not going to be your go straight, stretch the field guy. All you need to do is run a 4.3 and beat everyone. But I think he's faster than people give him credit for, and honestly, how much do we talk about like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or CeeDee Lamb's speed? Like once they get into the league, we don't talk about their speed. If you're talking about their speed, it's because they're not a complete receiver in my mind. And so I'm not worried about it. He's not slow. Trey Harris is a stud. I've watched interviews with him. He seems like he's got it really solid between the ears. I just think he has all the makings of an excellent receiver in the NFL. Perfect complement to Ladd. Do I think Trey's going to be the new wide receiver one on the Chargers offense? No, especially with Justin Herbert's history using that intermediate guy like he did with Keenan versus Mike. But I do see him being involved in the offense as much or more as Mike was when he was in his prime, because I think Trey Harris he's not as excellent as Mike Williams was at what Mike Williams was excellent at, which is go get it, go get the ball. Trey Harris, I think, is a little bit more of a jack of all trades than Mike Williams are, but I think he's a little bit more well-rounded. And then the third round, Jamari Caldwell. Mixed bag here. There's a lot of people that people still wanted. There's a couple guys on the board that I still really wanted, and some of them are still there. So hopefully we can still get them in the fourth. But Caldwell to me does something really well, and that's stop the run. Are we going to get consistent crazy pressures up the middle? No, not necessarily. Does he have the athleticism to contribute there? Yes, absolutely. Sorry, technical difficulties. First day back. Anyway, I think we're in a division that we're going to run the football hard. I think Ashton Jeanty is going to run the football obviously hard. I think that's going to be the Raiders' identity. And we need someone who can stop the run. And Jamari Caldwell should be an immediate contributor in that department. And if he makes our run defense stronger, then I'm all for it. Would I prefer to have had somebody who's a little bit more of a complete package? Of course. Do I think that there are some guys there that have higher ceilings? Absolutely. Jamari Caldwell feels like a very high floor, low ceiling type of guy. And I'm okay with that. We got two really good high upside guys. Hopefully both of them work out. And then Jamari Caldwell pick, no matter which direction it goes, will feel just fine. Obviously, there's some guys both on all ends of the defensive line that I would have loved to address. Some edges that I still like, some defensive tackles that I still like. But we needed help in that department. We needed to fill that position. The run on defensive tackles was happening. And if you want your guy, you go get him. And for all we know, someone was going to be there right behind us and go get him. Which, speak of the devil, screw the Chiefs. I love Noel Williams. I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for. He's kind of been one of my guys, my hidden gems in the draft. And the Chiefs jumping up to jump us to get him is really frustrating to me. I just hate them so much. But at least Harold Fannin went to the Browns and not the Chiefs. I'll take it. Obviously, Harold Fannin was another one of my guys. That's well documented, but I knew that the odds of him falling to the third wouldn't be higher to us in the third at least. Him falling to the third was even still a little bit of a surprise for me, but man, they weren't kidding. These tight ends went, and they just kept flying off the board. People must really like these guys. I like them, but I don't like them as much as clearly some of these teams did. So nothing would make me happier than a Mark Andrews trade at this point to really round out the offense, but I think Tyler Conklin will do more than what people may expect. I think he's already 30, so don't expect too much. But I think he's an upgrade over Will Dissly. Obviously, Hayden Hurst didn't work out last year, so I think Conklin still fills that role, but man, a Mark Andrews trade would really give me some life. So anyway, a couple guys that are still there that I'd really like to see us go get. Josiah Stewart, we did miss out on. I would love to get him instead of Jamari Caldwell, but still on the board. So let's talk about a little bit of a preview of the next 2 days and what I'm kind of looking at. Starting with the next round or two, there's a few guys that are really jumping out at the top of my board still that I'd love to go get. First one's Kobe Bryant, out of Kansas, cornerback. I still really would like to upgrade and get some youth at corner. Obviously, Jesse Minter was able to do a lot with very little last year. Hopefully that keeps up with our current cornerback room, but Kobe Bryant, I think, has a lot of really great tools. Watching him play, he's just a very complete package. Again, I wouldn't say he's going to turn into a top-tier lockdown number one corner in the NFL, but I do feel like he has a long career ahead of him, so I'd love to go grab him. Braden Swinson is still there, someone who I thought was knocking on the first round more so than falling to the fourth. I don't know. Maybe I'm not that good of a talent evaluator on the defensive line. I know I'm not a good talent evaluator on the offensive line. So, but I just feel like he's got a lot of refinement to his game. Again, not a super high ceiling player, but someone who I think is a rotational edge rusher for the next decade in the NFL. So I'd love to see us go out and get him. Obviously, 2 offensive linemen that I really still like are out there. Jake Majors, a great center 3 to draft and develop. Don't think he's going to come in and immediately win the job this year, but let Andre James and Bozeman battle it out, have Jake Majors in the hopper, let him kind of develop and take over hopefully next year. If all goes according to plan, I think he's a really solid center, and I'm surprised that he's falling as low as he is. And then Jackson Slater, who's another one of my guys, small school guy. Hard to evaluate talent when you're that small of a school, but I think he'd be an excellent guard replacement at the left guard position. Wouldn't mind seeing him work out at center a little bit. Just 2 offensive lineman guys that I think would really be value adds to our team. And then there's a bunch of players that I would love to double dip on. So obviously we have a defensive tackle. We still need some depth there. We got a wide receiver, could use some depth there. Running back, not so much, but I feel like it's just too good of a draft not to capitalize on. Now, I'll be honest, there's not a whole lot of tight ends that I still love in the draft, and that's part of the reason why I really want to make that Mark Andrews trade. And anybody that I mentioned before or about to can all kick rocks for Mark Andrews. Doesn't hurt my feelings. But defensive tackle, I really like Jared Harrison Hunt out of SMU. I think he's probably like a 6th-round guy. I really like him. I don't know what it is. I really do. So would love to get him on a late-round flyer, obviously. Wouldn't have taken him over Caldwell, but a player that I really like. Double dipping at wide receiver. So Dante Thornton's a popular name. He's gained a lot of steam. I think he's going to be drafted higher than where we could get him, but obviously he brings the speed element. I think that's in a situation like, yes, I don't need as complete of a receiver. I have that one now. Now I want a speed guy. So it'd be just nice to have Ricky White, a good complementary player, slot player in the NFL. And then Nick Nash. He's just a fun story. I think he's like 35 years old already coming out of college. I think he's like 26, but just a good, solid player. He was the Triple Crown winner. I don't know what he could do at the higher level. He's got a good-sized body to play wide receiver in the NFL. Would he be a top-tier player? Definitely not, but I think he is someone who could come in and possibly contribute right away. So if we decided to double dip, depending on how the team feels about Darius Davis and Brendan Rice, I wouldn't mind going for him. And then running backs, any of them. I just like this class, man. It's so good. If Ollie Gordon's really going to plummet all the way to the 6th, 7th round, I have a hard time not taking a gamble on his physical traits and how he performed in 2023. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt out of Arizona. I think he's going to go to a team that really needs a running back. I think he's going to go early in the 4th. Hopefully it's not the Chiefs, but I think he's going to go somewhere and be a contributor. And then specifically some specialty tool guys, which makes more sense based off of who we have on the roster right now. Jaden Blue and LaQuint Allen. Especially LaQuint Allen. I just think he's going to be an excellent pass catcher in the NFL. I think you can find a role for him if Greg Roman ever learns that that's something that running backs can do. Jaden Blue. I know he has the fumbling issue. but he's just so explosive that, again, a player I wouldn't mind taking another flyer on. We have a tremendous amount of 6th-round picks. We'll see how the next 2 rounds fall out. And if those running backs really start flying off the board, I wouldn't be surprised. But some players that I still have my eye on. So overall, man, just so happy that the direction was fundamentally sound. They haven't picked any players where I was really like, why? Like even Jamari Caldwell, like I have reasons to appreciate it. Not the pick I would have made, but pick I'm happy about. But TRE Harris makes all bad, icky feelings that I could possibly have go away. I don't think I've ever had where my guy really was, I guess, Derwin pick and Herbert pick, but in like a second or mid round where it was the guy that I wanted and he actually fell to me and we actually took him and I was this excited. Asante Samuel, I felt kind of the same way, but I just so excited about TRE Harris. So excited about TRE Harris. Welcome to the Chargers. It's going to be hard not to get a jersey. We'll see where life takes me, but yeah, I hope you guys are all as excited as me. We've got a big day 3 with obviously 6 picks in day 3. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully we get some contributors, round out this team a little bit more and go Bolts, I guess. Let's go, boys and girls. Day 3, here we go. If you liked this video, please give me a follow on Twitter or X at Erdman Chargers, shown on the graphic here, or subscribe to my YouTube channel at Nature's Calls Pod.